A medical student disappears in Dominican Republic. A young life is lost in a Guyanese hotel pool. 2 drowning cases. But 3 international medical experts made a shocking discovery that changed everything. What connects these tragedies will leave you questioning what really happened. 20-year-old Sudiksha Konanki had dreams bigger than her small hometown could contain. The University of Pittsburgh pre-med student called her mother every night after studying, sharing her excitement about becoming a doctor. Her parents had immigrated from India to give their daughter opportunities she could never have imagined. Spring break in the Dominican Republic was her reward for months of hard work. Her parents still keep her medical school application on the kitchen table. She would call me every night after studying, her mother told reporters through tears. The last time we spoke, she was so excited about finally taking a break. That break would become every parent's worst nightmare. By the way, I'm curious, where are you tuning in from? Drop a quick comment, I read them all, and sometimes your ideas spark our next case. March 3, 2025. Sudiksha stepped off the plane in Punta Cana with 5 University of Pittsburgh friends. The Rio Republica Hotel promised the perfect adults-only spring break escape. All-inclusive luxury on pristine white sand beaches. 3 days later, security cameras captured her final hours. Dancing at the resort disco until 3 a.m. on March 6, connecting with other tourists, including Joshua Stephen Ribe from Iowa. The 24-year-old seemed friendly enough. Around 4 a.m., surveillance footage shows them heading toward the beach together. Arms around each other's backs, walking close. The group dynamics were shifting as the night wore on. By 5:50 a.m., most friends had returned to their rooms. Sudiksha and Ribe remained on the beach under the stars. She was never seen alive again. When her panicked friends reported her missing at 4 p.m., it triggered one of the largest search operations in Dominican history. Over 300 personnel from American, Dominican, and Indian agencies combed the area. Divers, helicopters, Coast Guard vessels. Nothing. The beach had already proven deadly just weeks earlier. January 17 saw 4 tourists die at the exact same location. All ignored the red flag's warning of dangerous conditions. 6 people entered the water that day. Only 2 survived. But what happened next would raise questions that divided investigators. Ribe's story kept changing in ways that initially made investigators uncomfortable. First version, they went swimming but got caught by a large wave. He managed to swim back but became sick after swallowing seawater. Second version, he fell asleep on the beach and woke to find her gone. Third version, he felt ill and left her alone in knee-deep water. Security footage later showed him walking alone on resort grounds. Shirtless, barefoot, without Sudiksha. Yet those who knew Ribe described a different picture. Friends reported he had been consuming alcohol that evening, which investigators noted may have impacted his ability to recall events clearly. The inconsistencies in his story might reflect the fragmented memories of someone struggling with alcohol and overwhelming guilt. Perhaps his changing accounts weren't deception, but the desperate attempts of someone who genuinely couldn't remember clearly what happened to someone in his care. The weight of that responsibility appeared to crush him during questioning. Authorities noted his genuine distress, his repeated expressions of regret for leaving Sudiksha alone. After extensive investigation, they officially cleared him of any wrongdoing on March 31, determining his detention had actually violated Dominican law. Sometimes the most suspicious behavior comes not from guilt over actions taken, but from guilt over actions not taken. The Dominican Coast Guard revealed something chilling. These waters have the Caribbean's strongest currents. Speeds of 4 to 5 knots. Even Olympic swimmers can't survive them. Sudiksha's body was never found. Her devastated parents eventually asked authorities to declare her legally dead, though the possibility remains that she might still be alive somewhere in the Caribbean's complex geography. But this was only the beginning of a pattern that would soon emerge thousands of miles away. 2,000 miles south, Adriana Younge loved family gatherings and felt fearless in water. Her grandmother often took her to local pools where Adriana would spend hours laughing and playing with other children. She was the light of her family's life, a bright child who should have returned home safely from what was meant to be a simple day trip. April 24, 2025. Adriana visited the Doubleday Hotel in Tucson, Guyana, with her grandmother and relatives. A family day trip that should have ended with smiles and memories. She was last seen near the hotel pool shortly after 1 p.m. 20 hours later, her body was discovered floating in the same water that had been searched multiple times. Her father, Adriana Younge, made the discovery himself during an ongoing community protest advocating for more thorough investigation efforts. How could a body suddenly appear in a pool that had been examined repeatedly by multiple people? The condition of Adriana's body prompted immediate questions from her mother, Amicia Simon. The question still is, she drowned, where did she drown? What are the marks on her skin? When I identified the body, the physical evidence raised questions about the official conclusion. The family observed inconsistencies between initial and later examinations. Her voice broke as she continued, there were unusual findings during the initial examination. However, these details were not present during the official autopsy procedures. What circumstances might explain cotton in the nose of someone who reportedly drowned? Why would potentially important evidence no longer be available when it mattered most? The hotel had experienced another unexplained incident before. In 2012, a young man named Sudiksha Konanki was found deceased in the very same pool under circumstances that raised questions. Some wondered if this was more than coincidence. But the initial medical investigation seemed straightforward. 3 internationally recognized experts conducted examinations. Dr. Glenn Rudner from Mount Sinai. Dr. Nihal Singh from Delaware. Dr. Zuleika Clark from Barbados. All 3 reached the same conclusion. Adriana died by drowning. No evidence of foul play. Case closed. But the family wasn't satisfied. Something felt fundamentally wrong about the official explanation. What they did next would expose fractures in the international medical community that nobody expected. In May 2025, Adriana's family made a desperate decision. Her body was flown to the United States for a second examination. Dr. Carol Terry, Chief Medical Examiner of Gwinnett County, Georgia, agreed to conduct the review. What she found would shatter everything authorities thought they knew. Dr. Terry declined to confirm drowning as the cause of death. 3 leading specialists had concluded drowning. Yet here was America's most respected medical examiner refusing to agree. In an interview with journalist Travis Chase, she called the case unexplained circumstances. At this time, drowning cannot be conclusively stated as the cause of death, she announced. To prove drowning, you must rule out every other possibility first. Nothing during her examination actually confirmed drowning had occurred. But Dr. Terry's doubts were just the beginning. Across the Atlantic, Dr. Mark Devonish at Nottingham University Hospital was reaching even more disturbing conclusions. His analysis suggested Adriana didn't drown in that hotel pool at all. When someone drowns in large volumes of water, the body absorbs significant amounts. Density increases. The body sinks. But Adriana was found floating with no signs of prolonged water exposure. Dr. Devonish's analysis was shocking. The forensic evidence suggested something else entirely. The pool may not have been the primary scene. Expert examination indicated the location might have been secondary. The tragedy resonated far beyond Guyana's borders, sparking an unprecedented global response that united the Guyanese diaspora like never before. Across New York, Toronto, London, Barbados, Jamaica, Suriname, and beyond, Guyanese communities gathered by the hundreds for candlelight vigils and memorial services. In Brooklyn, crowds chanted, "Say her name." Adriana, while holding Guyana's flag, their voices echoing through the streets. The Guyanese Rights of the Child Commission issued a powerful statement: justice for Adriana is not negotiable, it is a moral imperative. Adriana's aunt, Amika Lewis, appeared on television, voice-breaking as she described their search for truth. "We just want to know what happened," she said, her pain evident to viewers across the world. Yet questions emerged about the investigation's thoroughness. What might have motivated certain approaches to the case? Was this professional competence, or could other factors have influenced the process? Reports indicated the hotel's owners left Guyana amid growing public response, actions that raised eyebrows among those seeking accountability. Both families faced decisions that no parent should endure. Returning to the Punta Cana case, Sudiksha's parents, immigrants who had sacrificed everything for their daughter's education, were forced to declare her legally dead without ever finding her body. They returned to Pittsburgh carrying only memories and unanswered questions. Her mother still sets a place at the dinner table, unable to fully accept that her daughter won't walk through the door. Meanwhile, in Guyana, Adriana's family spent their life savings flying her body to America, desperate for answers that seemed to slip further away with each examination. Despite all their efforts, despite the international attention, despite the global outcry for justice, uncertainty remained their heaviest burden. "We just want to know what happened to our baby," Adriana's Aunt Amika Lewis said on television, her voice breaking with a pain that reached viewers across the world. The family's attorney, Dr. Dexter Todd, spoke with firm resolve. The family is at the stage where they are not interested in what the government's perception is. They want to know the truth. Both cases share similarities that extend far beyond their tragic outcomes. Timing played crucial roles in both disappearances. Sudiksha vanished during early morning hours when supervision was minimal. Adriana disappeared during 20 mysterious hours when trained searchers somehow failed to locate a body in a hotel pool. Both featured inconsistent timelines and witness accounts. Both divided the international medical community in unprecedented ways. Both occurred in paradise destinations where tourism revenue creates pressure for quick, clean explanations. Most troubling is the economic reality behind these tragedies. Paradise destinations depend on tourism revenue. Quick closure through official explanations becomes essential, even when families and experts raise legitimate questions. The scientific reality is that drowning can be extremely difficult to prove definitively. Bodies in water for extended periods present unique challenges that even experienced professionals struggle with. Yet when multiple respected experts disagree so fundamentally, it raises questions about what evidence might be missing or overlooked. These tragedies offer sobering lessons about hidden dangers beneath paradise's beautiful surface, but they also raise uncomfortable questions about justice, accountability, and the value placed on young women's lives in tourist destinations. For Sudiksha, the possibility remains that she might still be alive somewhere. The Caribbean's complex geography and numerous islands create scenarios that investigators quietly acknowledge but rarely discuss publicly. Her family holds on to fragments of hope, even as months pass without answers. For Adriana, the questions center on what really happened during those 20 missing hours. How does a body suddenly appear in a location that multiple people had already searched? Why do international medical experts disagree so fundamentally about the cause of death? Both families continue searching for truth, even as official investigations have concluded. Sometimes the most important legacy of tragedy is the questions it leaves behind. Questions that might prevent future losses if anyone bothers to listen. The beaches of Punta Cana continue welcoming new visitors daily. The pools of Guyana's hotels remain open to families seeking relaxation. Tourism continues while questions remain unanswered. 2 young women. 2 tropical paradises. 2 families forever changed. The search for truth continues, even as the world moves on. For Sudiksha, somewhere between hope and heartbreak, a family waits for answers. For Adriana, a global community demands justice that feels increasingly elusive. Today, both cases remain officially unsolved. Sudiksha's family still hopes she might be alive. Adriana's family continues demanding answers. And the questions they raised about paradise destinations might save other young women's lives.
If you enjoy deep dives into true crime, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Until next time, friends!